but with a lot of movies, was just in the battle of music versus sound design, you should always assume you're going to lose as the composer. So on the first Godzilla trailer, and Godzilla was a
Linux review. We're the early morning. This is the late night edition we're recording. So I know I'm tired. I don't know how Jay's feeling.
I'm trying to stay awake right now. I'm not really having good success with that.
Yeah, we're all winding it down. So thank you for joining us. It is greatly appreciated. This is Tom Lawrence,
Tony Bemis,
and Jay LaCroix.
And this was episode 324, Year of the Linux Laptop. We are here with it, folks. So
you can't just try it.
Yeah. And I'm not bashing people that aren't on social media because I fully understand why. I have a lot of friends that are married men and they just don't touch the internet. They're like, look, that's my wife's thing. I'm not going on there. I don't want to deal with it because the drama, they don't want to deal with it. So I fully understand there's some people who just don't want to be online, and that's fine too. I'm just saying to people that need the break from stress situations. Like I'm stressed out too. I got to deal with it, and I deal with it by eating my feelings and looking back over this Dominator Ray.
Right. And Revolution takes breaking some eggs.
And so they're like really easy to point out like ways that C does this over its like forebears, right? So compared to assembly, like C has an if statement and like, so instead of like, like that jump assembly branch, you write an if statement, which is like more restricted and doesn't compile to anything differently, or a function, which kind of, instead of being a go-to.
I don't know, started to get boring. So one day I got a call from a friend of mine. His name is Jack Daniels. I think he may still be around. And he was working at KDWN in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Television personalities, radio preachers, people who fill up stadiums all over the globe, and all the folks who follow them. Some of their views are bizarre about Jesus. Some of them are just childish and frivolous. One very prominent pastor with a massive church says Jesus appears to him dressed as a fireman.
But basically they have the electronics of a preamp and an interface all built into the casing of that microphone. So it's a lot of stuff crammed into a really small little place.
Frequency of 91.9 megahertz and uses a process of frequency modulated multiplex stereo. We'd like to invite you now to stay tuned, listen, and enjoy Stereo 9 FM. Stereo 9 FM.
Randy felt that he was least likely to cause any television interference to any local neighbors who might complain, which could lead to an FCC investigation.
World from just being out in the trenches. I'm fortunate in that I get to do that. But then the other issue that I have is that I work from home. So I don't have an office anywhere but the house. So sometimes I remember what day it is because they all just kind of run into each other. So that's kind of some of the pitfalls that we have doing.
Meet the Square. That's offered by the Brooklyn Arts Council, where it has a tuner interface and
zones in Brooklyn, the major pirate radio neighborhoods, mostly Flatbush, but also East New York and Flatbush Midwood, where there are a few Orthodox Jewish radio stations.
This is JRootRadio.com.
Still my favorite, where when Pro Tools was starting out and everybody was an engineer kind of a thing, because you can be, and they were doing a tracking session, and the engineer went up to the drummer and said, "Could you play softer in your kick? You're peaking on my meters."
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
These days.
But I think it's getting better, like everything else. We're learning, we get used to it, and maybe not in my time, but it is getting better and better.
I didn't want to bring down the show with a little bit of bad news, but I just want to get this done real quick, and then we'll get back to the tuxies.
I hate to say this, but I think we are going to postpone the January 2nd meetup. We're still going to go ahead with the Moving LUP. We're still going to have a big live event.
Website that will go with it, connected to the map, and we'll have a sonic essay, basically a 4-part essay with sound samples